Rachel Zegler just keeps making things worse with the Walt Disney Company. The more that she tries to defend this movie, the more that she tries to spew her agenda onto the general public, it's only making matters worse. Not just for Bob Iger, but for whatever is left of the image of Disney as a whole.
The producers, far left-wing activists in Hollywood, are turning on her.
I have nothing interesting to say. I look insane. Everyone's just ignoring my phone calls. Whatever, it's chill. I don't even care.
What would you do if you were a rising star, cast in a dream Disney role, only to find yourself at the center of a $200 million storm? Rachel Zegler, once celebrated as Hollywood's next big thing, is now tangled in rumors that she's begging Disney for a massive payout after their Snow White remake crashed and burned. How did a fairy tale turn into such a wild controversy? Let's dive into the drama that's got everyone talking.
I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have when I say that this has been the biggest adjustment of my life. Like understanding the way my life operates now, being who I am, and the things that I've been so fortunate to make. It comes with so much ground. So much ground that I never thought I would be able to cover, and that people think I'm doing poorly, and other people think I'm doing gracefully, and I don't think I'm doing it at all.
Picture this: a young actress, fresh off a breakout role, steps into the spotlight as Disney's Snow White. Rachel Zegler was that star. Her performance in West Side Story had Hollywood buzzing, with critics praising her raw talent and magnetic presence. When Disney announced her as the lead in their live-action Snow White, the excitement was palpable. Fans saw her as the perfect choice to breathe new life into a character that's been a cultural icon since 1937. Disney, too, was banking on her to deliver a modern twist on a classic tale, blending nostalgia with a fresh perspective that could appeal to today's audiences. The stage was set for a blockbuster, a fairy tale reborn for a new generation. But even as the cameras started rolling, whispers of trouble were already creeping in.
Apart from all of the political controversy started by the actress, so the movie had all kinds of problems creatively and conceptually.
A promo tweet with a political statement. As a result, Mark Platt flew to New York to speak with her in person.
And a lot of what you see with Zegler is really just this pretty common Gen Z mentality and approach to work.
Hinting at a storm no one saw coming, Zegler wasn't shy about her vision for Snow White. She wanted to shake things up, calling the original 1937 story outdated and pushing for a princess who didn't need a prince to save her. It was a bold move, one that sparked cheers from those who wanted a stronger, more independent Snow White.
I'm a narcissist. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
Okay.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. And then it became like, I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part.
But for every fan who loved her take, there was another who felt betrayed. Disney purists flooded social media, arguing that Zegler was tearing down a beloved classic. Her comments, like it's not 1937 anymore, became lightning rods, igniting debates that split audiences down the middle. Some praised her for bringing a progressive edge to a dated story, while others accused her of disrespecting a legacy that's enchanted generations. The divide wasn't just among fans, it was starting to show on set, where tensions were simmering in ways that would soon explode. Enter Gal Gadot, cast as the evil queen and a Hollywood titan with a resume that includes Wonder Woman. On paper, Zegler and Gadot were a dream team.
That's going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars, and mainly because of her, and because nobody wanted to support her.
I mean, that is just far from a graceful Disney princess-like promotion. It's far from what you would think Disney wanted.
I think Rachel Zegler was miscast. I'm not trying to be shady, but when you see the pictures of her as Snow White, you're like, that's Snow White? She doesn't look happy, she's not really smiling.
A rising star paired with an established icon. Their chemistry was supposed to light up the screen, blending Zegler's youthful energy with Gadot's commanding presence. But as filming progressed, insiders started leaking stories of friction. It began subtly, cool silences, averted glances during rehearsals, but soon escalated into something harder to ignore. Some whispered it was creative differences. Zegler wanted a Snow White with a moral backbone, a story that taught lessons about empowerment, while Gadot leaned into the darker, more traditional fairy tale vibes. Others hinted at personal clashes, though no one could pinpoint the exact spark. Whatever the cause, the set became a battleground, with crew members caught in the crossfire of two strong personalities. And the drama was only just beginning. The tension went public in a way that no one could ignore. A high-profile event, meant to celebrate Gadot's humanitarian work, was supposed to be a chance for the Snow White cast to shine together. Disney hoped it would show unity, silencing the growing rumors of a feud, but Zegler was nowhere to be seen. Her absence was like throwing gasoline on a fire. Tabloids and fans alike called it a deliberate snub. Reports swirled that Zegler skipped the event over discomfort with its political undertones, tied to Gadot's well-known global stances. Whether it was principle or personal, the move sent shockwaves. Social media lit up with theories. Was Zegler taking a stand? Was she throwing shade at Gadot? Disney scrambled to control the narrative, but the damage was done. The idea of a united Snow White cast was crumbling, and the public couldn't look away. Behind the scenes, the production was spiraling into chaos. Crew members later shared stories of a set plagued by delays and arguments. Reshoots became a daily headache as directors tried to salvage scenes where Zegler and Gadot's lack of chemistry was painfully obvious. Editors were left with a near-impossible task, stitching together moments where the two stars barely shared the same frame. Cancelled press events piled on the trouble. Publicists axed joint appearances, terrified that a single stray comment could spark a media frenzy. What was supposed to be a vibrant reimagining of a fairy tale was turning into a cautionary tale of clashing egos and mismatched visions. The crew, once buzzing with excitement, grew demoralized as hours were lost to spats rather than storytelling. And then came the rumor that would change everything. As Snow White's release date loomed, a bombshell dropped. Rachel Zegler was reportedly begging Disney for $200 million. The claim, though unverified, spread like wildfire. Some said she was desperately trying to secure her career after the film's disastrous early buzz, reaching out to Disney executives or even private financiers for a lifeline. Others speculated she was bracing for a career dip, fearing that Snow White's failure could blacklist her from major roles. The idea of a young star, once poised for greatness, now pleading for funds was pure tabloid gold. Was there truth to it? No one could confirm, but the rumor fit perfectly into the narrative of a project gone wrong. Fans and critics alike began asking, how could someone who'd been on such a meteoric rise find herself in this position? The $200 million figure, whether real or exaggerated, became the talk of Hollywood, and Zegler's name was at the center of it. The film's box office performance only deepened the drama. Despite Disney's massive budget and stunning visuals, audiences weren't showing up. Families, usually eager for a Disney fairy tale, were turned off by the endless controversies. Fans of the 1937 original felt alienated by Zegler's push for a woke narrative, while casual viewers were more interested in the off-screen feud than the movie itself. Early forecasts painted a bleak picture. Snow White was shaping up to be one of Disney's biggest misfires in years. The negative buzz was relentless, with every new headline digging deeper into the Zegler-Gadot rift or the $200 million rumor. Industry insiders started whispering that Zegler's outspokenness had made her a risky choice for future projects. In Hollywood, where one wrong move can dim a star's shine, Zegler was feeling the heat, but the story doesn't end there. The $200 million rumor wasn't just about money. It was a symbol of Zegler's precarious place in the industry. Some reports suggested her team was scrambling to lock in new roles, pitching her to streaming giants and production houses to keep her career afloat. The fear was real. A flop of Snow White's magnitude could cast a long shadow, especially for an actress still building her name. Hollywood's a brutal place, where today's darling can become tomorrow's cautionary tale. Zegler's camp stayed quiet on the financial rumors, but she didn't shy away from defending her vision. In interviews, she doubled down on the need for a modern Snow White, one who wasn't defined by a prince or a fairy tale rescue. Her passion was clear, but to some, it came off as preachy, alienating fans who just wanted a touch of nostalgia. Gadot, meanwhile, navigated the storm with a cooler head. Known for her poise, she kept her public comments focused on the film's artistry or her own philanthropic work, rarely mentioning Zegler directly. But the tension was unmistakable. At the few events where they both appeared, their body language screamed discomfort, stiff smiles, minimal interaction. Reporters, hungry for a scoop, kept circling back to the feud, leaving little room for talk about the movie's creative merits. Gadot's established fanbase gave her a buffer, but Zegler, newer to the spotlight, didn't have that luxury. Every misstep was magnified, every rumor amplified. The $200 million claim, true or not, was now part of her story, shaping how the industry and fans saw her. Disney tried to salvage the situation with last-ditch efforts. Marketing campaigns were tweaked to downplay the progressive angle, hoping to win back traditional fans. Editors worked overtime to mask the on-screen tension, cutting scenes to hide the lack of rapport between Zegler and Gadot. But the damage was done. Social media was a battleground, with Zegler's supporters praising her bold stance and Gadot's fans slamming her for disrespecting a classic. The $200 million rumor kept resurfacing, with some outlets painting Zegler as a desperate starlet, others framing her as a victim of Hollywood's cutthroat nature. The truth remained murky, but the narrative was set. Snow White was less a movie than a soap opera, and Zegler was its embattled star. As the premiere approached, hopes for a turnaround faded. Disney had pulled off miracles before, turning troubled projects into hits with clever marketing, but Snow White was different. The leaks kept coming, stories of a toxic set, of Zegler storming off after a heated exchange with Gadot, of executives holding crisis meetings to contain the fallout. The film's opening weekend was a dud, with numbers far below expectations. Even diehard Disney fans, usually first in line for a live-action remake, stayed away, worn out by the drama. The $200 million rumor became a punchline for some, a tragedy for others. Was Zegler really begging for a bailout, or was this just the rumor mill spinning out of control? Either way, it was a stark reminder of how quickly Hollywood can turn on its own. Zegler's defenders argue she was set up to fail. Disney's push for a progressive Snow White put her in a tough spot, forcing her to navigate a minefield of fan expectations and studio politics. Her comments, while bold, were in line with the film's vision, at least at first. But as the backlash grew, she became the face of the controversy, taking the brunt of the blame. The $200 million rumor, they say, is just that, a rumor, blown out of proportion to sell headlines. On the flip side, critics point to her choices, skipping Gadot's event, doubling down on divisive comments, and alienating a chunk of Disney's core audience. They argue she misread the room, underestimating how much fans cherished the original story. The truth likely lies somewhere in between, but one thing's clear: Zegler's star power is at a turning point. The aftermath of Snow White has left Zegler in a tricky spot. Once hailed as the future of Hollywood, she's now dodging whispers of financial desperation and a damaged reputation. The $200 million rumor, whether true or not, has become a symbol of her struggle, a young actress caught in the crosshairs of a high-profile flop and a ruthless industry. Some still root for her, impressed by her courage to challenge old narratives and push for change. Others see her as a cautionary tale, proof that even the brightest stars can fade if they don't play the game. Disney, meanwhile, is licking its wounds, moving Snow White to digital platforms sooner than planned, hoping to cut losses. The film's legacy, it seems, will be more about the drama than the story it tried to tell. So, where does Rachel Zegler go from here? Can she shake off the $200 million rumor and rebuild her career? Or will this controversy define her? Hollywood loves a comeback story, but it's a steep climb. She's got the talent, no question. Her early work proves that. But in an industry where perception is everything, navigating the fallout will take more than skill. It'll take strategy, resilience, and maybe a bit of luck. The Snow White saga has shown us how fast a fairy tale can turn into a nightmare. What do you think? Can Zegler turn this around, or is Hollywood's spotlight too harsh? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going.